Good evening, welcome. My name is Obindako. I want to share with you briefly what a long topic that I have, which is African government institutions easily hinder the businesses and the entrepreneurship drive of their own people without knowing them or without knowing. Colonized countries in Africa, they say that we were colonized, and colonization is about power. It's about economic empowerment of the one who is doing the colonization. And so if I colonize you, I try to take advantage of you, and usually I exercise power over you, and I control the money over you. And almost every institution that are set in place is to establish that interest of the colonizer. Now, when the people came to colonize us, a lot of the government structures that they left, a lot of the institutions that they left, that we have not attacked, organize them after all this while. The culture of these institutions, I would say that unknowingly perpetuate a system that kills the businesses that we have, and that hinder the entrepreneurship drive that we have as a people. I think that governments all around are trying to say that the youth should start their own businesses. Politicians who have never started businesses are telling us, encouraging us. Almost every sector of our economy, people are, encouraging us that young men and women after their college days should try to start businesses. It is not a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think that there's a little that has been done to encourage people. The few people that have even started businesses in our country, there is that very little on the ground, not the talk shows that they hold, not the talkings, not all those. On the ground, not even among the politicians, among the bureaucrats, among the civil servants, among the government institutions, there is that little that is being done to encourage young people who want to start businesses, or people who want to start businesses, or people who are doing businesses of our own people, our own kind. There is very little that is being done to encourage us, and we are treated right from the registration of business to whichever institutions that we have to deal with. We are treated as if we are operating in an environment where the structures are right, where everything is perfect. We hardly, the government institutions, they hardly think that the way they approach young businesses, startups, the way they treat them and the way they approach them, and the people who are around them, and the way they see these institutions treating these business people, entrepreneurs, most people are not encouraged to even try to set up their own businesses. That is, if they want to build what they call formalized business, where there is some kind of exposure to government institutions, where anybody at all can come and ask you for whichever documents that they ask for. I think there is very little that has gone into the realities on the ground as to how business ideas are generated, and how businesses are built and structured and modeled in our kind of economy, and how the government is ready to do whatever they have to do to make sure that some of these businesses are supported and gain the grounds to become what they call, good businesses that can give employment. I think that they are word apart. I think that the government institutions are somewhere, and the reality on the grounds as to how you do business is also somewhere. They just give the public talks, and they talk to us as if we are a developed country, as if we have our systems set, as if a lot of things are perfectly done. When the multinationals come, a lot of them come having done businesses somewhere, and so they probably have they have some kind of understanding of how businesses are structured, and how you have to deal with government institutions. Majority of our people have never done businesses formalized, so to say, where government institutions will come in and ask you which documents and which regulations that you have to follow, which documents that you have to show them. Very, very few of our people would want to even expose themselves to some of these institutions. And so I think that the way they go about it really kills the spirit. It makes people not to expose themselves to anything public, anything government, anything that somebody else will come and look at what they are doing. Naturally, Ghanaians or some Africans, naturally we don't want people to look into our issues that much. So these governments, how they operate, our institutions and how they operate, they are killing, or they are hindering people's drive to start businesses and people's drive to even grow their businesses. They are. So we inherited a colonial government structure that is really against innovation, that is really against entrepreneurship, and that's really against building businesses. And we have not looked into our institutions, our government structures, to see how they can enhance, or they can be motivating factor for a lot of these young people that we are pushing for them to start businesses, to get into it. Because when you start it, and when they come to you, they talk to you like you're a criminal. They talk to you with suspicion. We have done very little to improve these things beyond what the colonization left us. The people who came to colonize us. I mean, if I go to the Registrar General, if I go to the GRA, if I go to Senate, if I go to all these institutions that we deal with when you're doing business, or even the metropolitan assemblies or the district assemblies, when they go to these small businesses, you see how they treat them. Even the people who carry things on their head, you go through the city, you see they treat them, the women who sell on the street, you see how they treat them. They treat them as if they don't contribute anything to the economy. And if they come to your office and they're asking for documents, they treat you like they have power over you. And so the system, without us knowing, have been killing the very drive that we need in people to build businesses. It's a huge challenge. And I don't think that any one person or any one government is responsible. It's just a system that we have inherited, that we have really not that much to improve it. So politicians and regulators and bureaucrats, they set laws on taxes, on other regulations, and most of them have never even tried businesses. So you go to parliament, they are setting up something is coming up with all these taxes, and majority of them are going to affect their own businesses, and most of them have never tried a business. And then after they have set the laws, they also give it to regulators, most of these guys who work in these institutions, who have very little understanding of how painful it is for their own people to try to do business in this kind of economy. Very few that you go, the way they talk, you can see that, oh, this person at least knows what it takes, the pain that you have to endure to try to build anything for yourself or for the company, for the country. They are world apart. They are somewhere, and the reality of the business community is also somewhere. And so you see, when there is no foundation, there is little. When there is no foundation, proper foundation set for businesses to grow, for businesses to be established, for us to have a lot of startups, that, because if even you have 100 people starting businesses, in 10 years, very few of them will be stabilized. Very few of them will be existing in well-structured economies. And our kind of economy, we should have thousands of businesses being started, being encouraged, you know, and maybe after 10 years, maybe you have 2 or 3, which will be able to employ 100 or 200 or 1,000 kind of people. We are doing our things as if we are an organized society, and we all know that there is not even communication between the government institutions. And so let's say you need a document from maybe this ministry. They are not even able to communicate with the other ministries, and this they all know. But when you go, the requirements that they give you, the things that they ask for, and the kind of service that you get, sometimes you feel like, why do you have to worry? Why don't I just give? I mean, what is it? Why worry? Because you can just go and also look for the same kind of job, and nobody will even frustrate you. You know, you can just go and get some government job and just give up on your business. Why? Because the frustrations that they pose on the people, and then we turn around to say that there is a high unemployment. There is going to be high unemployment so long as our government institutions continue to operate as if they're a colonial government. They behave like they're a colonial government. They don't work with the interests of the people at heart. You go there, you meet a gentleman who you are asking questions, and the way they talk to you, it's amazing. And the thing is that a lot of them also have their own side business. You see, a lot of them have their own side businesses that they do in some of the institutions. Majority of them. And when you go as a business person, you know, you say that you are building a company. When you go, the very things that they are not doing in their business, they ask you. So for instance, you go to the Senate, they asking you documents that they have side business that they don't pay. You go to the tax office, they asking you things that they know that the structures are not there. They're asking you for receipt from the mechanic. They're asking you receipt from all kind of things that they ask. And I'm like, so when are they going to sit down to structure something that suits the reality on the ground? You're asking them for proof of this, proof of that, and you live in the same economy. And you know that when this kind of people come to ask for you, there's no receipt. When this kind of people come to ask to work for you, there's no this, there's no that. Yet they hide behind, this is the law. And that is their best tool. It's a legal requirement. It's a law. There's nothing that we can do. And you look at it and say, so how are you going to have a lot of people who would build businesses? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Because there's no coordination. There is no realistic understanding of the pain of the entrepreneurs, the pain of the business people. There's very little. The other day I went to an office, and the way this lady was talking to us, oh God, I see we are criminals. And they are oblivious of the fact that we live in an economy that is yet to be formalized. So why worry so much with all these things that you are looking for? Why can't you give the people basic way? Why don't we structure our tax laws, our SNET things, all those things that they ask for people? Why don't we structure them to be so much simple so that everybody can be on board? It's so much difficult to build a business. And then you have a government who is not supporting you. You have a government institutions who are just frustrating you. They put all kind of renewals, all kind of regulations that you know that these don't mean anything. And the thing is that the people who work there, they will easily create a problem that didn't exist so that they can take advantage of you. They will make you become a bad person when you are not wrong at all, so that they can take something from you. And these are realities on the ground. And if anybody goes through these things for a while and they want to be honest, they want to be credible, they feel like, why do I have to do this in the first place? So why don't I stop and also just get a job like that? And meanwhile, that person may be employing 3 or 4 or 5 people. And if you were to give them encouragement, they probably in the next 5-10 years, they probably will become a big business. You see how the police officer stops somebody on the street. You're driving and the police officer stops you. They say that, okay, you cross the traffic light, the red light, and so they stop you. You have gone against the law. And then they ask you for money. They say that you have gone against the law. Yes, I've gone against the law. So treat me as such. But you are also asking for money. And that one is not against the law. That is how they treat the business people across board. But I think that if you're a business person, and even if you know people in government, when you meet some of these institutions, people who work in these institutions, or when the policeman catches you on the street, don't call the people you know. Deal with them. That's how you become confident in trying to deal with them. Because most of them will create fear in you, panic, so that they can extort something from you. And they will take the confidence, the motivation that you have to build business. And this one, when you are starting the business, nobody tells you. They didn't tell us that yearly the AMA will come to your office. And if you don't have money, they will threaten you to close your office. Yearly, the IRS will come and threaten. The Senate will come. If you have to renew any document, maybe certificates for doing business, something like that, if anything, and there are thousands of them that you don't even know, and then they are not coordinated. You pay this thing here, you go to another office, they have no connection. There's no communication between them. They cannot track anything. This is the reality. Nobody is faulting that. This is the reality of us, and this is the economy. So why do you raise the regulation to monitor these businesses when you know that your structures are not even perfect? Your structures are basic, very low. Yet when you have to regulate them, you raise the bar so high. And you think that a lot of them will continue to do businesses and build businesses? I wonder. Now the thing is that they don't even link it to the progress of the economy and the employment creation. Most of these government workers don't link it to them. They think that they are just doing their work. You know, most of them, they don't even see it as their responsibility to encourage their own people to start businesses and do whatever they have to do to help them to become successful. Majority of them, if they give any help to you, it's because they want to ask for something. And so you see young business people, they hide. They have to hide to do their businesses. So a lot of them will not even register the business. A lot of them will not open an office. A lot of them will they don't want to have anything to do with these government organizations. They will never even try to employ one person. Why? Because the moment you expose yourself, they want to kill you. They want to hinder you. They want to crush you. And they do that without any bad intention, actually. They just are applying the law. And where are these laws coming from? They're coming from the time that Gorgesberg was here. And who told us that Gorgesberg wanted our people to own businesses? They didn't want us to be innovative. They didn't want us to be entrepreneurial. They didn't want us to have economic empowerment. Now your own people are in charge and they are carrying the same system. The same system. Where they themselves have even moved with better systems of regulating businesses. They are encouraging their own people to become good business people. They are encouraging their own people to start to develop business ideas. We just say it with our mouth. The institutions don't support young people starting businesses. Don't support older people starting businesses. Don't support anything. The frustrations will let you give up. The frustrations will let you give up. So African government institutions, they easily hinder entrepreneurship drive and business drive. They hinder you. And those are the facts. And they don't even know it. They are not aware. You may think that it's intentional. It's not intentional. They just happen to work in an organization which culture is coming from the time that they didn't expect anybody to own a business. Which culture is coming from a time that they didn't expect any of us to get money. And so the way they behave is just, if you look at the economy, it's just built for employment and built for politics, things like that. But we have not structured the economy for people to innovate. The trading, the petty trading, yes. But even that, look at the way we bully them. We bully them across board. We frustrate them. Anytime I go to Makola or I go to anywhere and I see the way they are pushing these women, they are frustrating them. These AMA people will go and pack their things. God, Why do we treat our own people this way? In the name of the law, in the name of being a government worker, in the name of being government institution. If you don't provide provisions based on the structure of the economy that we have, why do you apply a regulation that is not in consonance with the reality on the ground? The reality is that a lot of our business people would have to be groomed after a while before they can even pay the taxes that you want. They have to be groomed, they have to be coached. And if they go there to help them, they go there to look at their books or things like that, you are going there to help them to succeed. After all, what is government doing? What is it? You operate in an economy where you borrow and you pay 40%. That is not regulated. So which businesses can properly do well when you are paying 40% interest? Then after this kind of things, every institution will come to you and ask for all kind of things. Yet the reason that they come to ask you is because they think they are the government. And you would have thought that the government should also regulate things in the interest of their people. And this is not NDC or NPP or those things. I'm talking of right from Nkrumah to this state. What have we done to make sure that entrepreneurship thrives, that our people can build businesses? How are you going to fight poverty when your people cannot own big businesses? How? How are you going to fight? How are you going to create opportunities? How are you going to create big businesses if your own people are not in the lead of building businesses? And how are they going to be in the lead of building businesses when majority of them will just give up when they come into confrontation or when they meet government institutions and the frustrations that they meet? When they meet them, the frustrations that they meet, they would want to give up. Most of them would want. After a while, you don't want to try anything. You just want to go and sleep. If you're not very tough, you just start to become corrupt and lying, because that is what the system will push you to do. You just have to lie. You just have to, flow with the flow. You just have to do what they want so that you can get your peace. But how would we become great if we just cut in the corners? Because the people who are regulating, they are just taking advantage of the law. They are just taking advantage of the things that are there just to frustrate the businessman. And if you want to go strictly by the things that you have done rightly, they will always find something that they want to use against you. And so you see, the foundation is not right. The foundation is wrong, and the foundation is hindering a lot of entrepreneurship drive and a lot of businesses from growing. They make decisions not for the interest of their people. They just make generic decisions and they call it law. And the people who are setting laws for the businessmen to follow have never even tried any business anyway. They don't know what they go through. So they just set law as if we were in Singapore. They set laws as if we were in America. They set law as if we were in England. And the reality on the ground when you are doing business here, when you're trying to build a company here, it's crazy. Crazy. If you're not tough, you just give up. Because when you are going to fight for the project, the guy who's the procurement guy, he has his business somewhere that you will give that project to. He will give that business to, So you go there with fair-mindedness, You think that I've just come to, they will even, sometimes I wonder why they prepare all those tender documents and sell. Because they know the people that they are going to give the tender to. There's so much, because the systems are so porous that they are the government. So most of these guys working in these areas, their girlfriends have businesses, their wives, their children have businesses that they give it to. So they are there, they work, the government pays them, and then behind them they have about 10 businesses that are, this is the country we live in. And when you have to go there to negotiate anything with them, it has to be for them, it has to be for their interests. Most of them don't work for the government, they don't work for their people. They frustrate. There's always a regulation somewhere that they are looking for. And if you don't have money to renew it, they will come and just frustrate you. And most often the vim and the force that they come with is because you don't have money for them. If you had money, they will not frustrate you. Or if you had somebody in government that you could mention and who could speak on your behalf, nobody will frustrate you. So how many of us will know people in government? How many of us will have money to pay, even if it's right for us to pay? How many of us? And so you are killing a lot of people, or those who would want to do it will just have to hide, be in their sitting room and do whatever they want to do. They will not want to come out. And if they are not coming out to do businesses, they are not going to build businesses beyond just the revenue, just the money. But businesses would have to be built and they become national assets. They have to be built so that they can employ people. They can help the economy. But if you are always on them, or treating them, just using the so-called laws to frustrate them, they give up. And so you talk to any business person, you talk to any guy who is doing, whether it's in manufacturing, whether it's in construction, whether it's in retail, whatever they do, who are out there that these institutions can go and talk to them and frustrate them. Look at their feelings. I never think that you will hear any one of them talk nicely of these institutions. Why should it be so? Why should it be so? So next time that they register another business, they will never make it public. They will hide it. So they can have 10 businesses that they hide. Why? Because it's almost a crime for you to take yourself to the IRS or to the Senate. They're just there. They wait for you. And when you go and you are even trying to reason with them, the way they talk to you, my God, the way they treat you, they treat you like a criminal. You have no idea that their people would have to become entrepreneurs. Their people, majority of them, would have to create businesses. And that is how the economy is going to grow. But most of them don't care. Why? Because a lot of them are there with their own businesses anyway. They hide behind it and they take all the projects. They take all the things. And so this is not a good situation. It's not a good situation so far as the government institutions are concerned. And a lot of it are just coming from the colonial, culture. The colonial culture. The colonial culture was structured, said that we will not have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of businesses booming, we will not have innovation. That is how it was done. Now, we took over and we have not corrected them that much. Just as we took over and we have not corrected our education, we're just producing virtually the same kind of people as if the government was a colonial government, So we have done very little to improve it. And so the institutions, the culture of these institutions, the culture of these regulators, they don't work for the interests of their own companies, of their own country's business people, of their own country's entrepreneurs. They almost handle them like they are criminals. They meet you with the intention that you are lying. They meet you with the intention that you are trying to cheat. They meet you with the intention to extract something from you. And you dare ask them any question. You dare ask them any innocent, intelligent question. They will feel frustrated. They will feel disrespected. And if they have to fight you, they will fight you to the last point. Just because they require so much respect from you that you have no power to even ask them questions. Why? Because they have the government too. They have the law. They tell you that it's the law, and it's the law. They have to use the law against you. So, colonization was about power. It was about money. And so they did not structure things to help us to develop businesses. And unknowingly, we're still perpetuating the same kind of offenses. The offenses, actually, where a continent is not helping their own business people to succeed. They rather will help the foreigners to succeed more than their own business people. They will help everybody else to succeed, not their own young people. The entrepreneurship thinking, the innovation, they will not push them. They just frustrate. You try to go and register a business. Go to the registrar general and just register a business. And ask why you are paying the things that you are paying. Ask for the detail. And when you ask them, they'll tell you that, oh, no, there's nothing we can do. We came to meet them. Now, but you have been there for 30 years. Why have you not at least recommended something? That this thing is killing a lot of people from starting businesses. And if you're going to have honest business people who will build companies, that's why most of our businesses, most of our businesses are just government-related, contract, minister, connection, kind of businesses that we have. We don't have a lot of businesses that are thriving on innovation, on creativity, on systems, on structures. Because why? The institutions are not friendly. They hinder you. They will frustrate you. They will not encourage you. And there is always some kind of somebody that you have to go through to get which document. We are not changing those quickly. And yet we are talking of trying to produce a lot of entrepreneurs. I don't think that's what the problem is. The problem is that government institutions must improve. And if government institutions don't even improve, if you work with a government institution and you see your own people trying to do something for themselves, don't frustrate them. Give them a hand. They don't have to give you money. You are paid where you are working. Just help them. Don't just frustrate them and just take them to anywhere. Some of them, they will just threaten you to take you to court for no offense. They will never even meet you to hear your side of the story. Nothing. So every day there's a problem somewhere. Today AMA is coming to your office. Tomorrow Senate is coming to you. The next day GRA is coming to you. The next day this. And they all come acting as if everything is perfect in the economy. And they wonder why people don't open businesses. I wish you had statistics on businesses that collapse easily in our economy. How many people are starting businesses and how many of them are collapsing? I wish you had them. And then we will see how bizarre the situation is. And the thing is that the politicians, they don't care. They don't know it. And the bureaucrats, the government workers, the civil servants, they also don't know it. That's the fact. They don't know it. They don't know the pain that we have to endure to even put up a shop or to put up a business. They don't know it. So they just come. They don't know that when you meet them, you're not comfortable. When you meet them and the thing that you have done and they still want to ask you questions, the thing you have been paying, they are on their document. They should just check them. No, they will not check. They will come to you and ask you the same thing that they asked you 2 years ago. It is frustrating. And I think that there is something that has to be done somewhere. Even if not as a government, if you work with these institutions, it's our responsibility to make sure that our people are given leverage, better treatment. If they walk to your office, treat them with respect, treat them with fairness. Don't treat them just to extort something from them. You want a document, they know that they can give you the document, yet they will delay you, they will send you go and come, they will frustrate you, as if that is the only thing that you have to do. And yet you have employed 3, 4, 5 people. If everybody were like you and they were also employing 4, 3, 5 people, maybe the unemployment will reduce. And so the people that we really have to treat well are the people who are creating jobs for the economy. The people who are creating jobs for the economy. But they are the very people that we least treat with respect. We least treat with respect. We frustrate them. You just try, go to the market and see the market woman. They live, they sell in debt, they sell in all this waste, they sell in all this garbage, and yet they will go there every day to take income tax. Some of them, they will go and just frustrate them, pack their things. So painful. And what have they done? They're just trying to have a livelihood so that they can take care of their children. And then you look at the business people saying, they just come to your office, they just create a lot of noise for nothing. Sometimes they don't even want to hear anything from you. They just come like they are the country. It's amazing. And if you continue with this path, it will still be a colonial country where very few people will control wealth, and a lot of the people will be poor. Because if you say that we are a free market society, the only way people are going to create prosperity is when they become entrepreneurs. This is not a socialist country. This is more or less a capitalist country, which means that people must try to create their own wealth. And how are they going to create their own wealth when the institutions are frustrating them? And so most of these institutions, they work without knowing that they are killing the drives that the entrepreneurs have. The politicians and the regulators, they set laws that don't apply. They don't apply on the ground. On the ground, they don't work. They don't make sense. And those who enforce these laws, same. They don't even know. and they will not ask them. And they are acting as if the system is better. The system is well structured. It's not. A lot of things don't go. Can they even communicate? If you go for document from Senate and you go to GRA, go and look if they communicate, or even one GRA office if they communicate with another GRA office. They don't. You go there, they sit on the table and they write with pen. And yet they want to enforce the so-called laws on the ordinary business person who is also operating in the same kind of economy, who is frustrating, who is going through a lot of struggle. So when there is no foundation, the people just suffer. And so if you look at it, the foundation is weak. And the majority of them even also have their own side businesses. That's the most painful aspect of it. And they know. And so we should resolve to help our people to succeed. And in as much as the government institutions behave this way, if you have a business, if you are doing business in this economy, yes, it's frustrating. Yes, you don't want to go through that. Yes, it's not good. But you can decide, never run away from them. Never run away from them. And if you meet them and you have to ask your questions, ask your questions. None of them is God. And none of them can use the law against you. None of them can. You see, when the policeman catches you, the policeman can only catch you. He cannot jail you. He has to take you to court for a judge to sit down and hear your case. So none of us, even the judge himself, would have to work with the law. So if they were honest, it's the law. Nobody is above it. Everybody is under the law. So when you meet some of these institutions, yes, you would want to be respectful. You want to be, as we are Ghanaians. That's why the system has been dragged on, because we do not confront. We do not ask. We do not face. We don't want trouble. If you're a business person, you want trouble. You want to ask them questions. You want to tell them your peace of mind. You want to tell them the frustration that you're going through and the things they're telling you, come and meet me today, tomorrow, yesterday. Tell them, listen, this thing you are sending me through every day is not right. It's not right. Whatever you want, let's sit down and see what you want and let's settle it. And it doesn't have to be bribe. It has to go to the government. And sometimes they deliberately, they create a lot of this nonsense so that they can extort money from us. And so if you resolve not to pay anything, then they will frustrate you. They'll frustrate you like something. But don't be afraid of the frustration. Just do what you have to do and tell them the reality. And tell them sometimes they need to be told that what you are doing is what the economy needs. Without the business people, without the people who are who are moving the economy, the government institutions, what are they there to do? To collect which tax? To collect which revenue? If the people who are trading, who are doing the commerce, don't move, there's nothing. Government collects revenue from where? From businesses. So you should also be able to tell them that we live in this kind of economy. Don't frustrate us. We have been frustrated for 50 years, 60 years. We still continue to frustrate our own people, whilst other countries are helping their business people to become successful. Yes, there are some businessmen who are criminals who don't, but they are not in the majority. If you go to the market, the women they don't want to lie. They just want to see, they are just selling. They are just finding a way to sell. Why do you frustrate them? If you go to the place and you see those guys who are trying to build their computer business or their software business or something like that, they are not criminals. They are just trying to do business. And sometimes they don't even have what to eat. And yet you go there in the name of AMA, in the name of IRS, in the name of Senate, and you want to crush them. For what? It's amazing. It's amazing. So you, the business owner, never give up. It's a continent that we have to build. These are the realities. These are the frustrations that you will meet. If you run away from them, you will never become big. Never run away from them. Face them. Know how to deal with them. Know how to deal with all those guys, Never run away from them. Don't. Continue. It will change. It will improve. As governments change, as governments are confronted, as governments are pushed, a lot will change. But majority of the things that we've been dealing with for the last 50 years has been, they have been just colonial approach to entrepreneurship, colonial approach to businesses. And that's why our business people feel frustrated. Access to funds, very weak. Even the quality of the people that we work with, somebody can just call you to that, say that, oh, my grandmother is dead, so I'm not coming to work. This is you see, the work ethics of our people have to be improved. The character would have to be improved. Those the government is not trying to build them. The things that they don't have to master, those are the things that they are mastering. The workforce should be work conscious. Where they come to work and they come to work. So far, they come to work only for the salary. Most of them don't come to work because they want to work for the company to progress. They only want to work because they need salary. And any least opportunity, they will call sick. Any least opportunity, they will call that they cannot come. This is the work ethics that we have. And for the money side, if you don't take care, they will just screw you forever. And they will connive and start business, side business, and collapse your business without you knowing. These are the things that our government would have to settle and correct so that businesses can thrive. You give young businesses 5 years, holiday, so that they can learn how to do business in this kind of environment. You try to structure your government, your policy said that a lot of these people will have work from government to do without paying bribe, without going through a lot of frustrations. These are the things that governments in Africa would have to look at and do for the young people and for people who want to do businesses. They don't have to hinder us. They just have to give us support. And the so-called politicians, you see, you live in an economy where politicians and all these other guys compete for projects with the business people. Most of these politicians compete for projects with business people. His government is in power. He has his company, and his company is competing for projects. What do you expect? So they frustrate. They frustrate the business people. They frustrate the entrepreneurs. But they are also part of the same problem. So we cannot just be angry with them and give up on our country, on our continent. We just have to solve them as our own problem. And yes, there are problems, there are challenges, but you can rise above the challenges. You can rise. So far as you understand the psyche, so far as you understand the approach, so far as you understand their mindset, you should be able to rise above them and do the business here. And do your business here and build your ideas and sharpen your skill and raise yourself above this noise. It's a noise that you have to raise yourself above them. The frustrations, they are just noise. They should not kill your drive. They should not hinder you from growing your business. They should not make you give up. They should not. Sometimes you will just see a business idea is genuine, you want to solve problems for the country, and yet you will see the same people that you are trying to build the business that will help will frustrate you from everywhere. Don't give up, because you're not doing it just only for this generation. We're doing it for generations to come. And if the people who fought for our independence gave up, we will not be here. Those who fought for whatever that we are benefiting today gave up, will not be here. Who told you that they did not meet hindrances from their own people? They met. Some of them were even assassinated by their own people. They connive with the foreigners to assassinate us. These are problems that we have dealt with over the years. And so if it's your business and they are frustrating you, don't give up. After a while, you understand the situation. After a while, you will know what to do. After a while, you'll be able to get your things rightly. And so, my name is Kwabena. I have talked about African government institutions and how they hinder business growth, how they hinder entrepreneurship drive, without them even knowing it. Their bureaucracy hindered the drive. They killed the spirit of a lot of our business people. Whilst in some countries, people are trying to push their own people to do a lot of businesses and to grow their economy and to develop their country, the politicians and the civil servants and the public servants, they work against us. and most of them don't even know it. That the laws that they have set, the regulations and the enforcement, they don't meet the reality on the ground. They don't meet the reality on the ground. The business people go through a lot of pain, a lot of struggles. They have to deal with high cost of financing, high energy cost, sometimes bad business infrastructure support. A lot of these workers, you have to train them. You're dealing with partners whose word don't mean anything to them. These are the facts that we have to correct. Countries have improved this. Countries have worked to improve the cost of financing. They have worked to improve their work ethics, their character. They have worked to improve how they gather data. How because you work in an economy where you cannot track any data on anything. Countries have developed to have data on their people where you can assess what. So the trust level in these countries are very high. Ours, the trust levels are low. These are the realities that we work in, and yet one government institution will come and act as if the things are very perfect and you are a bad person and you don't want to do what is right. But don't give up. Don't give up. If you stay in and you continue to push, you will succeed. And a lot of them are just doing it the way they are doing it because that's the best way they know. And when you confront them, some of them will be reasonable to understand the situation. And even if they are not reasonable, it's our country. Nobody can fire you. Nobody. The worst they can do is to take you to court. And if they take you to court, go and present your case. If the judge is not honest, no problem. Go and take another one. Because we have to just be tough to succeed, especially if you want to be a bit honest with your dealings. If you want to build a business that you don't have to hide, if you want to work something independent of politicians and all these guys, you would have to have some level of skill, some level of courage, some level of expertise. You would have to be a person who is ambitious, and you just have to keep going, and you just have to have good appreciation of the difficulties on the ground. And don't be bitter and don't be sad. Don't kill yourself. Don't just give up on yourself, on your dream, and let them do whatever they do, and you to do what you have to do, and continue to get better every day. Continue to grow, because this is our country. We complain, but they are all, in spite of what they are doing, they are all part of the same culture, the same kind of institution, the same kind of culture that we inherited. They are even doing it without knowing. They don't know that it's their responsibility to make sure that their business people succeed. It's their responsibility to make sure that there are a lot of people who become innovative, entrepreneurial, those who are creating, opportunities and economic empowerment for our people. They don't know. And so when you get your opportunities, do something, and don't frustrate yourself. And if you are in some of these institutions, give a hand, especially when you see your people. Because if your people are the poor in your own country, you have done a bad job. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for watching.